This vehicle, 2002 Mazda Protege LX, comes with a drum brake on the rear wheel. I have just removed the wheel, and in this video I'll show you how to check your brakes to make sure they're fully functional. I'm going to take it apart, clean it. It's going to be messy, so some people like gloves for it. I like hand wash, and the brake dust that's enclosed inside this brake drum here is toxic, so don't breathe in the brake dust, don't blow it out with air, don't be inventive on this one. Just let it drop here, sweep it up, discard it, or wash it away, or whatever, but just don't make it, going about in the atmosphere here and breathe it in. It's a carcinogen. That's I'm not swearing, that's a fancy word for saying that it causes cancer. So for this one, you need a plain screwdriver. Alright, that's a Robertson number 2. And you need to remove these 2 bolts here. And the other tools that I have here is just this, not entirely a drywall mudding knife, but something like that. A pry bar and a cute little hammer with blue and red hammer, and what I do is just tap it a little bit. Did you see what came out of it? So brake dust, and it's all puffing and flying here. I tap it lightly so the components slide apart easier, but it's not gonna be an easy. Sometimes, okay, it was a super easy slide apart. In this case, look at all the brake dust inside, which is that dusty dust there. Okay, just gonna dump it here, like so. There we go. Okay, and what I do with this drum is I clean it a little bit here along the edges, just about yay so. Because sometimes, depending on how badly it is worn or how much of this brake is engaged, it might be really hard to pull it off the wheel, the brake shoes, because this lip here is catching on the brake pad on the brake shoe. So sometimes, because inside this brake drum you can see this shiny surface here that's being worn or abrades against the brake pad material on the brake shoe, and as both wear, the steel here and the pad material wear, both generate dust that doesn't escape this enclosure here, and so that's why I like cleaning the rear brake out. And so that's where this dust stays, and where I need a pry bar and a hammer, I didn't need it much this time. I'm so lucky, because on the other side it took me just 10 minutes to pull this off the assembly here, because this lip was catching on the brake surface. So I needed a whole bunch of tapping and TLC on this one. What else I do? Come on in closer. Take a look at the situation there. What else I do is that I clean the dust off. Sometimes it just sits there like so. Try not to blow it, okay? Please don't blow it. Don't blow it in your face. Do yourself a favor. Take a closer look. See, there is piles or puddles of this stuff everywhere. There. So if I tap it, just get with a hammer. You can see it. It's everywhere. There. This dust does not really interfere with the brake's normal operation much usually, but sometimes it does. So it makes it squealy because it's being trapped inside and is making your brakes less effective. Another reason why I do this is I inspect the surface. Oh, that's a dark shot. How about this one? Maybe this side is a little better. So I inspect the surface and I do this to make sure it's got no major amount of matted and clogged up or clotted brake dust on it. So that's why I need this little drywalling tool. I do something like that and I remove all the brake dust from everywhere where I can find it. And whatever you do, don't blow things. I check out the bearing, you know, if it's not turning nice and easily, and it's a problem. If it's too wobbly and too loose, it's another problem, but this one seems to check out, and nothing seems to be bent, broken, and none of these linkages and suspension components, other than, I don't know if you can see this, it's really dark in here. There's this plastic accordion thingy here around or behind that spring that's trashed, but that's plastic and it's not a structural piece. So I just try to get all the dust out without bending anything. And whatever you do, don't yank this drum off it, because these brake pads here are held in place by springs and retaining clips, and you don't want to rip it all out, because if you don't know how to put it together, you are so screwed. So just there, it's dirty, everything is dirty. That's a pile of dust that came out. There, it should move, and that's how it operates. That's normal. I'm gonna show you in a sec, because my ever handy helper is sitting in the vehicle there, ready to operate the brake. And then actually, baby girl, operate the handbrake please. Release. Operate handbrake. Release. Operate handbrake. Release. Operate handbrake. I hope you can see how those springs move in it. Release. Operate handbrake. Release. And when I'm checking, thank you. When I'm checking, other than after you done with this semi-cleaning procedure here, what I'm looking here is that there should be enough pad material on this backing plate. Okay, so this one is about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. It's kind of getting thin, but it's still good as long as you keep an eye on it. When it's new, it's about 1/4 inch thick, so it's about half that, half worn, something like that would be reasonable. You can see. Check the thickness of it. It should be nice and even everywhere, but given the geometry of its operation, some spots will be thinner, and that's fine, don't worry about it. But just check the thinnest spots, because wherever it is the thinnest, that's what you have to go with for the whole thing. Here it's getting thin here. It's definitely thinner Here it's definitely thicker. So that's how this brake is looking. It's not leaking, so that's check one. I have enough pad on it. It's about 50% good. Okay, 25% if you really want to push it, because it's really thin here, and it's getting marginal, but it's still safe. I still have enough pad material, even at the thinnest point, to stop the vehicle, and the springs and everything work well. Where it moves, it should be greased and lubricated and everything, but it's not squealing, and I don't have a problem with it. And the lubricant is covered with this brake dust, so you can't see it, the lubricant in it, but because it's not giving me any problems and squeals and anything, it's working fine. And don't touch it, it's lubricated enough. This one here is the hydraulic part of the brake that gets the hydraulic fluid, the brake fluid, through these hoses, and then it comes in here. I don't know if it's well lit enough, not really, but it comes in here, it comes to this master cylinder, and these two little pistons here extend at the end. That's how it operates, and these brake shoes go up, spread apart like so, and they pry against the inner surface of this drum, and that's how these brakes work. And to check the operation on this one, if the person in the vehicle there just operates the brake, this one is only going to work once or twice, because then there's no pressure remaining in the lines that have the brake fluid in it, so you have to run the engine for it. I'm just gonna put this one on the tripod, start up the engine. There. Okay, ready to go. Freeze. Operate the foot pedal. Release. Operate. Let go. Operate. Let go. Okay. Thank you. So nothing is leaking here. There are no problems. Let me just kill the engine so you can hear me. I don't have to yell. There, that's the last thing I check for, that nothing is leaking here. If anything would, it would drip down there and brake fluid would show up here eventually. But so I'm checking around these rubber seals. That's metal, that's a rubber seal. Nothing is leaking and everything is in top condition. So if it ain't broke, don't mess with it. So that's how you check the brakes. Put everything back together. What you need to watch for is there is this threaded hole there, and on the brake shoe, that's your threaded hole. So they have to line up like so, because if you put it on this way and then you try to put the screw in here and then it's hitting nothing there, you're gonna be pissed off and take it off and rotate it 90 degrees and then put it back together. So that's all there is to it for checking the brakes. You be careful, have fun, and then put the vehicle down, mount the wheel, don't get hurt.